Go. Welcome to Breaking Down the News. My name is Michael Wordsworth, and I'm the producer of Breaking Down the News. The things you will hear over the next hour and a half represent the views of the people making them. All opinions and quotations in no way represent River West Radio and are the sole responsibility of the producer, guests, and callers. River West Radio is not liable for any legal issues arising from the content of this program. And now, the show.
You know why you're here, Mr. Wordsworth?
Yes, sir.
I'd ask you to speak up a little, if you will.
Yes, sir. I know why I am here.
You've been under investigation, Mr. Wordsworth, for the mandatory period of 1 year and 11 months. You're found to be obsolete. The purpose of this hearing is to make a finding in the matter and make a sentence accordingly. Do you understand that?
I understand that.
Your occupation, Mr. Wordsworth?
A radio talk show host.
A what?
A radio talk show host, sir.
I'm told you've had counsel and been given orientation, Mr. Wordsworth, but I'm still not sure in my own mind that you understand the purpose of this hearing. The field investigators in your sector have classified you as obsolete. This finding carries with it serious implications. Do you understand that, Mr. Wordsworth? Now I ask you again, your occupation?
I am a radio talk show host. That is my occupation, my profession. If you people choose to call that obsolete...
Request clarification of the term? Yes, the term. Mr. Wordsworth, you people, you make reference to the state?
I make reference to the state.
And you persist in declaring your occupation, correct?
That is correct.
A minister. A minister would tell us that his function is that of preaching the word of God. And of course it follows that since the state has proven that there is no God, that would make the function of a minister somewhat academic as well.
There is a God.
You are in error, Mr. Wordsworth. There is no God. The state has proven that there is no God.
You cannot erase God with an edict.
You are obsolete, Mr. Wordsworth. You have no function, Mr. Wordsworth. You're an anachronism, like a ghost from another time.
I am nothing more than a reminder to you that you cannot destroy truth.
You're a bug, Mr. Wordsworth, a crawling insect, an ugly, misformed little creature who has no purpose here, no meaning.
I am a human being. I exist. And if I speak one thought out loud, that thought exists, even after I'm shoveled into my grave.
Delusions, Mr. Wordsworth. Delusions, the Bible, poetry, essays, all kinds, all of it are opiates to make you think you have a strength when you have no strength at all. You have nothing but spindly limbs and a dream, and the state has no use for your kind.
Yeah? Well, we're gonna have to do something about that. This is RiverWestRadio.com, community-supported radio streaming live from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I'm your host. My name is Michael Wordsworth, and welcome to Breaking Down the News, the show that presents the news highlights of the week, but with a twist. Breaking Down the News is more concerned in bringing you information that wasn't covered on the front pages. Headlines you don't want to miss, because not listening could be dangerous to your freedom, liberty, and health.
And good afternoon. It is Wednesday, June 20th, 2012. Very hot day here in Milwaukee. We're just looking to grab some shade and take in the news. It's hot in the news, just like outside. And guess who else is feeling the heat? Why, Eric Holder, Attorney General. That's right. He's back in the headlines. This guy is amazing, absolutely amazing. He claims he doesn't know anything about it, but they asked him, and well, it turns out he knows everything about Fast and Furious. What are you going to do with this guy, huh? I don't even know. We're going to bust to a special presentation of a video coverage of that incident, but for now, let me read you the news. This is incredible. This is covering Attorney General Eric Holder on Operation Fast and Furious. For those of you who have not heard what this program is, my goodness, you really got to take this in. Here's the headline: Obama hides behind executive privilege and damage control over Fast and Furious. The federal government's criminal Hegelian plan to create crime along the U.S. border and then ride in as the savior with the new gun restrictions is now in retreat. This article from Patrick Henningsen, Infowars.com. The House Oversight Committee hearings have put both Eric Holder and the White House on their back heels this morning, further fueling a scandal which has now forced the White House into a re-guard action. In a move that is certain to fuel speculation about Barack Obama's knowledge of the federal government's clandestine gun-running program into the Mexican black market, the president has moved to claim executive privilege regarding any documents relating to the notorious Operation Fast and Furious. This case has reached a critical juncture as the House panel has finally moved to hold Attorney General Eric H. Holder Jr. in criminal contempt after he failed to comply with the official congressional request to hand over thousands of cables and documents relating to the scandal. According to reports this morning from the Washington Post, in a letter sent to Obama late Tuesday, Holder urged Obama to exert executive privilege because sharing internal documents with lawmakers could have significant damaging consequences. Well, of course it could. I mean, if they shared it, we'd find out that this was all planned. They did this on purpose. Sharing the documents, they say, would inhibit candor of such executive branch deliberations in the future and significantly impair the executive branch's ability to deal drugs openly and sell guns. Oh, no, I'm sorry. The article doesn't say that. Did I say that? Yeah, the government deals drugs. Yep. They bring them in. That's the way it goes. Anyhow, if we have too much transparency, it's Holder told Obama, well, the executive branch's ability to respond independently and effectively to congressional oversight. It's a bunch of BS. And last night, the embattled U.S. Attorney General Holder attempted to cut a deal with the House and Senate committees, hoping to walk free in exchange for handing over missing documents. But Holder's offer was rejected by House Oversight and Government Reform Committee Chairman Darrell Issa, who plans to move ahead with the motion for contempt. Good job, Darrell. The Washington Post details Holder's attempt at a backroom escape from suffering contempt charges. His quote, the Attorney General met Tuesday night with leaders of the House Oversight Committee and the Senate Judiciary Committee in hopes of reaching an agreement that would have Justice hand over requested documents in exchange for the House panel dropping its plans to vote on contempt charges Wednesday. If the House committee cites Holder for criminal contempt, it would open a process that would require House Speaker John A. Boehner to schedule a floor vote. Oh, no. If passed by the full House, the matter would then move to the U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia, Ronald C. Machen, Jr., who is an employee of the Justice Department. Holding an executive branch in official in contempt of Congress is rare, having occurred just 4 other times in the last 3 decades. Yeah, but I bet you there's a lot of reason to do it. We should do it more often. Anyhow, since the scandal surfaced back in 2011, some commentators had warned that the gravity of the arms trafficking crimes in question could make Fast and Furious this White House Watergate moment, and a potentially devastating blow to the flagging Obama during the run-up to November's U.S. presidential election. Yeah, totally. I mean, we got to hit him up for this. Obama's got so much dirt. I'm not saying Romney's going to be any better. He's just going to continue the same crap. But what are you going to do? I don't know. Vote them all. Let's just replace everybody. Let's just get them all out of there. Let's just cancel the freaking elections until we get somebody in there that's worth a damn. Anyhow, I'm sorry. Back to the article. During an in-depth Infowars.com investigation into Fast and Furious, it was discovered that ATF, DEA, and FBI agents working under the direction of the U.S. Departments of Justice were illegally acquiring firearms through straw purchasers in states like Arizona, and then intentionally flooding the black market around the Mexican border regions with thousands of illegal guns. I mean, did you hear that? What I just read? That's incredible. In order to demonize and regulate gun sellers in U.S. border states, this plan was devised. Well, that's not the only reason it was done. It was also done so that to arm the cartels that weren't paying off the banks and our government officials that are corrupt and working within the government to deal drugs. They got to get their money. When the cartels don't pay them their money, then I guess this works. You just give them guns and just let them kill each other. As a result, multiple lives were lost at the hands of gangs using Fast and Furious weapons, including federal agents in the line of duty. The operation was ultimately designed to set the stage for further restrictions on the Second Amendment and increased gun restrictions in the near future. Obama's latest retreat towards executive privilege may be construed by the public and some media as an indirect admission of guilt by association and will most likely lead to an increase in damage control from White House spin doctors, hoping to avert a similar fate suffered by Richard Nixon, Tricky Dicky, whose cover-up went from bad to worse and eventually led to his humiliating resignation. Ultimately, Fast and Furious could be the straw which breaks this administration's grip on the strings of power in the White House. You guys I'm going to play this. This video is incredible. It's going to bring you up to date on what's going on in Fast and Furious. You got to know about this. You got to know how the government, what they're doing, what they're behind. The open borders, the drugs, the killing. Well, Operation Fast and Furious fueled this whole thing. Here we go. Let's get into Fast and Furious. Thousands dead on the border, thanks to the guns that our government shipped in.
We have 2 Border Patrol agents who are dead, who were killed by guns that were allowed, as far as we can tell, to deliberately walk out of gun shops under the program often called Fast and Furious.
Did you ever approve or sanction investigations that allowed gun walking?
No, not to my knowledge.
Now that you've been briefed on it, the President has said on March 22nd that you didn't authorize it. Did your Deputy Attorney General James Cole authorize it?
I'm sorry,
The Deputy Attorney General James Cole?
did he, I didn't hear, did he?
We have a dead Border Patrol agent in Agent Terry. We have 2,000 missing guns. We have 200 deaths in Mexico. We had dead government officials in Mexico. We have a Mexican helicopter with troops in it that shot, 3 of which are wounded back in May of this year. We have 50-plus members of Congress calling for your resignation over this, and you've never spoken to any one of these people about this operation.
I think it's very important to recognize that you as the Attorney General, with all due respect, need to be held accountable, or someone does, as to what happened.
I should be held accountable for certainly my role in whatever I did or didn't do in connection with the supervision of Fast and Furious. But yeah, I'm Attorney General of the United States, and I should also be held accountable and perhaps even given some credit.
This program, as you know, and the President's been asked about it, you've been asked about it, allowed for weapons to be sold to straw purchasers, and ultimately, many of those weapons are today in the hands of drug cartels and other criminals. When did you first know about the program, officially I believe called Fast and Furious? To the best of your knowledge, what date?
I'm not sure the exact date, but I probably heard about Fast and Furious for the first time over the last few weeks.
This was the lie that made U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder the focus of Fast and Furious investigations. Documents obtained by CBS News prove that Holder lied, but their veteran reporter, Cheryl Atkinson, soon became a target of the White House, who attempted to intimidate the network into dropping their coverage of Fast and Furious. Believing it should remain above the law, even in the face of damning evidence of their illegal operation, an operation conveniently hidden inside President Obama's 2009 stimulus bill, and an operation that flooded the Mexican black market with thousands of illegally obtained firearms. The first incarnation of federal gun walking was hatched in 2007 under the watch of then Attorney General Roberto Gonzalez through Operation Wide Receiver. But that operation required federal agents to track firearms into Mexico and worked with Mexican security services to trace guns and apprehend cartel criminals. Unlike Fast and Furious, which had no tracking, no tracing, and no real objectives, in what can only be described as a federal government appearing to partner with organized crime in Mexico. As a result, The violence has increased on both sides of the border since Fast and Furious went live in 2009. In April 2010, Pinell County Sheriff's Deputy Louis Parole was shot and wounded by AK-47 fire, but was rescued.
All right, guys. I had some technical difficulties. I don't want to. This thing's like 22 minutes anyhow. It's called Open Borders, Fast and Furious. It's an InfoWars exclusive. You can find it on YouTube. Google it. It's pretty good. You got to check it out, definitely. Now let's continue on with the news. We're going to do a little commercial break, and we'll be right back. It's a warm day here in Milwaukee. Hope it's staying cool by you.
You're listening to RiverWestRadio.com. Every day, people wake up all over the world and hear commercials like this one, with soft music and a soothing announcer's voice telling you how great some big corporation's new technology will help you and your family. But it is important to remember, these companies could give a flying fuck about you or your family. That's why Breaking Down the News has made this commercial to counter their commercials. Don't be fooled by them. The battle is to gain control of your mind through media propaganda. Just say no to evil corporations and their slick computer graphics designed to brainwash viewers. Vote no with your dollars, and we will regain the health of our nation, one consumer at a time.
And we're back. Mass protests in Egypt against military rule. An estimated 50,000 people took part in protests in Cairo's Tahrir Square yesterday against last Thursday's coup and the establishment of a military dictatorship by Egypt's Supreme Council of the Armed Forces. Good luck, Egypt. We're having our own problems over here, but wow, man, 50,000 people took part in their protests. 200,000 people showed up in Germany. I forget how many, 100,000 in the UK. What does America got? I don't know. You know what? We're not protesting because we know, just never mind. Moving on with the news. Prospective coalition parties in Greece pledged to impose deeper cuts. Athens is expected to announce a national salvation coalition headed by the conservative New Democracy, whose objective is to press ahead with the austerity measures. Yay! No, that's horrible. Like I was explaining before, Germany wants Greece in there. They need Greece because it keeps the Deutschmark artificially low. It'd be trading like the Swiss franc 20 to 30% higher, and that would destroy Germany's export model. But I don't think they're going to let Greece squeeze out of the euro. That's why Germany ain't having it, and Germany's footing the bill for the euro right now. So you got to do what mom and dad tell you, right? Heil Hitler, the Führer. Sorry. That's just the way Germany is, isn't it? Yeah, hopefully not anymore. We'll see. It's amazing that those guys have bounced back. I mean, 1945, didn't we kick their butts and like end that whole Nazi party thing? I guess it kind of proves a point. You know what? Maybe they are a great nation. I mean, if you could lose a world freaking war and then come back as the new superpower 40 or 50 years later, what you're saying, that America's the superpower? No. It's because people here become fat, decadent, and lazy. We're too ignorant in our school systems. We have so many issues, we don't care. It's uncool. It's just totally uncool to be politically involved and just drink beer and watch sports. I know that's all we care about. That's it. Well, the human cost of Greece austerity measures are racking up. The social hardship being imposed on an already poverty-stricken Greek population is without parallel in post-war Europe. That's okay. We're going to have that coming here, too. And another related news, actually totally unrelated news, WikiLeaks founder Assange, remember Julian Assange? He seeks asylum in Ecuadorian embassy in London. Quick, run to the embassy. The move by Assange is the latest in an effort to halt his extradition to Sweden, where he faces trumped-up allegations of sexual misconduct. I mean, for all the stuff that they got on this guy, for everything he's pissed off about him, they got trumped-up sexual allegations. Remember DSK, Dominic Strauss-Kahn, or whatever? Yeah. He had that maid in the hotel room. This guy is like worth billions, but he's going to make a pass at a maid. You know, he could buy the hotel with a check, but somehow he's going to be like, screw it, baby, come here. Let me tell you, these guys, if they want to get away with stuff, they can get away with stuff. So somebody had the dirt on him. They wanted him out. In other news, French President Hollande prepares assault on the working class. I shouldn't even laugh at that, but I mean, it's just such a joke. I mean, to hear this. Yes, well, you know, that's the way it goes. France, they're having their troubles too. It's not just Spain, Italy, and Greece. Portugal and Ireland. No, everybody's having trouble in Europe these days. Statements by top Socialist Party leaders reveal the right-wing course the new government in Holland, France will pursue. Oh, good luck, right-wing. We'll see if the right or the left makes any difference. I'm telling you it's not going to. It doesn't matter because we're not dealing with the problem at the root of the cause. Moving on to other news, opposition to GM plan to dump white-collar pensions. GM white-collar retirees have reacted angrily to plans by General Motors to convert its pension plan to an annuity and offer buyouts. We're going to see a lot of that this year. That's my prediction. Ooh, hurting. March protest, New York City police stop and frisk policy. Thousands marched Sunday against the NYPD stop and frisk policy, under which hundreds of thousands of youth were stopped, searched, or taken into custody each year. Actually, that is going to be, coming up, I'm going to read to you about soda water and marijuana. Why are those two related? Because in New York right now, you apparently can get a $200.
I think you're going to enjoy this one.
Crap. You can get a $200. I'm trying to get this video up. A $200 fine for a 32-ounce cup of soda water and a $100 fine for 22 grams of pot. I don't know. You figure it out, right? How did we get to this point where drinking soda is twice as illegal as possession of marijuana? It's true, and I'm going to go into that because it's hilarious. And then I'm going to play a little Jon Stewart segment, which is just really good. I mean, he did a really good job with this issue, so I'm not even going to bother. I'm just going to play you Jon Stewart. All right, in other news, Quebec student associations make appeal for fresh talks. Little more than a month after the Quebec Liberal government effectively criminalized the student strike, the student associations are again appealing for talks. Well, good luck, guys. Remember, you got to address the issue where the issue lies. Let's see. The G20 debacle in Mexico. While every effort is made to keep rising tensions and conflicts out of public view, they erupted to the surface at the two-day G20 summit held in Los Cabos, Mexico. Yeah, wherever these G20 guys go, they don't have a fan following. We're really starting to catch up with the Bilderberg, G8, G20, NATO, what a Club of Rome, Club of Italy, all these organizations that make plans for us. Agenda 21. My goodness. People, that's why you got to listen to the show. You got to tell your friends about the show. No fluff here. I mean, I really try to keep it to a minimum. If I'm ranting for a reason. My tagline is words worth listening to. I'm telling you, they are. So let me get on to this. I'll do a commercial break, come right back, and then we're going to cover the soda water and pot. I mean, the two things, and I got to play you this Jon Stewart thing because I watched it this morning. It was actually pretty cute. He did a good job. Every now and then, I like the stuff he puts on there. I really do. I'm not sure, if he gets the full picture. Probably doesn't, but he's making good money, doing it, and that's that's what you got to do. Okay, cool. It's all about the money. That's right. No, screw values. No, it's about money. Yeah. No, I'm joking. I am joking. That's not how I am. Of course, I do have a family, and that's about the money. And let me tell you, you can love them, you can feed them, but I tell you, if you don't have money for dental work, clothes, rent, it just, ouch. Anyhow, let me get on with the show. You guys, be right back.
You're listening to RiverWestRadio.com. Are you tired of commercials always telling you that you're tired? When you know you're tired because you wake up early and go to bed late, and every moment in between is spent trying to figure out how you're going to make that next dollar. Well, you're not alone. Millions of Americans are walking around in a sleep-deprived, zombie-like state, amplified by psych meds and pharmaceuticals found in their drinking water. So just be glad you're not one of them, unless you are. In which case, I'm sorry you had to hear this. But wait, there's more. If we keep at this current pace, we will surely lose our democratic republic and soon be standing in food lines for the poisonous rations the new totalitarian government will hand out. Don't delay. Get involved. Get informed.
And now, live from River West Radio, the man with words worth listening to, your host, Michael Wordsworth.
Yeah! All right, this police state, nanny state insanity has got to stop in America. The TSA, for its part, has never caught a single terrorist, yet the agency itself has terrorized tens of millions of Americans. It's become the source of fear and terrorism in America. The Department of Homeland Security, for its part, has only been effective at raising domestic paranoia and turning normal behaviors into suspected crimes. So now, to top it off, we get these completely insane, privacy-invading, micromanaging nanny bureaucrats like Bloomberg and now Cambridge Mayor Henrietta Davis, who think that they can solve all the world's problems if we just give them enough power to dominate and control our lives. It starts with criminalizing soda possession, followed by arrest of people caught with intent to distribute soda. From there, it escalates into two guys who talked about distributing soda and are now being charged with conspiracy to distribute an illegal substance, which of course is a felony. And I'm talking about soda water being illegal in New York. Jon Stewart's going to explain it better for you. Can you imagine these people winding up in the joint next to a violent rapist who asks, "What are you in for, man?" Pepsi, man. Doesn't even stop with soda. As the nanny state insanity escalates, before long you're facing prison time for using too many sheets of toilet paper at a public restroom, monitored by TSA security cameras, manned by government perverts and pedophiles. Who else? Before you know it, you've got government mattress inspectors conducting warrantless searches in your home, confirming you haven't removed the safety warning tag off your mattress. If the government has its way, the average person will commit a dozen crimes before leaving the house in the morning, and then the police state goon squads can selectively enforce all their arcane Ninian laws against political enemies or those who speak out against the government. That's what this is coming to. Be careful anytime you surrender power to the state. You're just begging to be censored, suppressed, and have your rights stolen away by the liberal, do-gooder, big government worshippers who think a perfect world is one in which citizens are utterly enslaved and completely dominated by well-intentioned bureaucrats. And you remember, the road to hell is paved by bureaucrats. All right. We'll talk to you. Here we go. What do you do, Jon Stewart? Jon, take us away, man. Make us laugh. We need a good laugh.
Welcome back. I'm sorry. I'm still adjusting to life under Mayor Bloomberg's new soda restrictions. I think this is less than 16 ounces, probably on the small side, but better safe than sorry. Hey, what else has been going on in New York?
New York Governor Andrew Cuomo just unveiled a plan to decriminalize marijuana, meaning anyone caught with the small amount of the drug wouldn't be charged with a crime. Well, New York City's mayor and its police commissioner are on board with this new plan.
All right. Two things here. First, awesome. And second, what the what? What the who? So mellow yellow, no. Mellow yellow, yes. You're criminalizing soft drinks and decriminalizing soft drugs. This brings us to our new segment. Jon Stewart tries to figure out what he's allowed to put in his mouth. Really? That's what we're gonna say? That's how we're gonna title this? Out of curiosity, and I'm only asking for a friend, if this bill does pass, how much marijuana would someone now be allowed to carry around?
Under Cuomo's plans, having 25 grams of pot in public would only be a violation, not a misdemeanor.
Holy 25 grams? Do you have any idea how much that is? Seriously, does anyone have any idea? Because I don't use the metric system. I haven't since 5th grade. I mean, I know a gram's pretty small, so what are we talking about? Like, you get to carry around like a Sudafed worth of pot? Like, is it enough to get a mouse high? Like, what? How much is 25? Oh! Let me get my big book of useless metric conversion information out because it weighs exactly 25 grams. Wow! That's a lot of pot. It's pretty heavy. In fact, 25 grams is nearly, an ounce of weed. That's 8/8 of weed, or depending on your dealer, 9/8. How would someone who knows very little about pot describe that amount?
Being able to just walk around with 10 joints in each ear and it only be a violation, I think that's wrong.
10 ear joints? 10 ear joints in each ear? First of all, that's ridiculous. I don't know if there's anyone in the history of the world with big enough ears and enough experience with pot to actually be able to do so. Oh, yeah, okay, that would, all right. He has got to crack down on those photos from high school. But all due respect to State Senator Fran Narkington here, I'm not taking his word on how many joints 25 grams is. You know what? I bought an ounce of pot a while ago when I was younger. I think I might have stashed it in one of my LP record albums. Hold on. Let me sort through here if I can. I got Led Zeppelin, Peter Frampton, Captain and Tennille, another Captain and Tennille just in case that Captain and Tennille scratched. I got bread, cream, meatloaf, hot chocolate, vanilla fudge. Never buy LPs when you're hungry. Here we go. Let me see. I kept it in my Dark Side of the Moon. Okay, here it is. Yeah, it's yeah, that's about right. That's holy that's a lot of weed. It's like a Willie Nelson breakfast burrito right here. That's just like a Now, if this bill passes, let me make this clear. If this bill passes and you get caught with all this, you get a $100 fine. Meanwhile, if a business sells you a soda that size, that's a $200 fine. So just to be clear, this soda is twice as illegal as this much weed. You know what? I'll disheveled here. And you know, here's the sad thing. They go together so well. I think you're going to need a system to know how to manage decriminalized drugs and criminalized snacks and how much of them you can have, like a new Weight Watchers point system. So we're clear on which combinations of which will keep us out of jail, like a smack and snack calculator, if you will. You could get 15 points a day, so like if you felt like smoking 2 joints, you could wash it down with a 7-point snack like a Slim Jim. Boom! That's your 15 points for the day. You're going out dancing. I don't think anyone does that without 2 hits of ecstasy, so looks like dinner's only 1 Funyun. Now, I know what you're thinking, but John, what if TV Land is running a Gilligan's Island marathon? Don't worry, my man, that's the beauty of the Smack and Snack plan. You can dip into your flex points. We're not Get yourself 3 ounces of weed, a couple of Big Macs, Fribbles, and have a blast. Just know, you're in for a month of cottage cheese and sobriety. We'll be right back.
Thank you, Mr. Stewart, and we'll be right back here as well.
The kitchen is the heart of the home, but at Monsanto, We're a megalithic agricultural group attempting to destroy farmers all across your country. We bring you horrible foods that attack your stomach lining, DNA, give you kidney and liver failure. Monsanto, bringing Franken foods to your family at home. Don't you just hate us? Say no to GMO. You're listening to RiverWestRadio.com.
And we're back again. It's Wednesday, 2012, June, hot here in Milwaukee. Like I said, the police state, nanny state insanity has got to stop in America. The TSA, for its part, has never caught a single terrorist. Yet the agency itself has terrorized tens of millions of Americans. It has become the source of fear and terrorism in America. And that's why I, Michael Wordsworth, traveled down to the Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport to find out what's life like there under the TSA and interview some of the people and find out where they're at and what's going on. As usual, it's always an entertaining, fun interview. So let's check it out down there in DFW. We go live to Mike, which is me, in DFW Airport, Dallas, Texas.
The TSA has consistently made the news with bad reports about its moral conduct, questionable employees, civil rights violations, everything from workers stealing cash out of travelers' luggage to trafficking drugs through airport security gates. Congresswoman Blackburn recently brought to the news media an awareness of the TSA's hiring of known child molesters and child porn collectors. My question is, why are we putting up with this? Why have we become so tolerant of being peasant slaves that we will acquiesce to anything? I've come to the DFW International Airport outside Dallas, Texas, to ask some questions of ordinary passengers and to interview the TSA workers themselves. Let's go in and see what they have to say.
I don't like what I have to put up with every time I fly.
Ted Wilsonberg travels by plane frequently and has to get groped on a regular basis. But does he have to put up with this?
No. Hell no. I'd keep these guys out of here if I could.
So you don't think that we need to be molested in the interest of national security?
No. Think about it. A police officer can't just come up and put their hands in your crotch. But these guys feel me up every time I pass through these gates.
But why do you put up with it?
I have to do this. My job depends that I fly 3 to 4 times a week. I have a family, you know?
The TSA stands for total suckasses when it comes to trampling on the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. How do they get away with it? I asked the director of security here at the airport at Dallas-Fort Worth. Yeah, well, when you pass through them doors, them front doors of this airport, you're no longer in America, boy. You're now in international territory bound by international law. And that's the great secret. The Constitution of the United States does not apply in its airports. Since September 11th, 2001, the Bill of Rights has been circumvented because of the threat of terrorism, when in actuality, you're more likely to die from a bee sting or be struck by lightning than actually be affected by terrorists. You're listening to RiverWestRadio.com.
Senator Ron Wyden calls for decriminalization of industrial hemp farming. And I, for one, say thank you, Senator Ron Wyden. Not only did you visit Fukushima Daiichi plant a couple months back ago to give us that in-depth report about how that situation over there isn't solved. Thank God we have some senators and congressmen that actually care, or at least they're trying to care. I don't know. I mean, what are you going to do? Well, Senator Wyden calls for decriminalization of industrial hemp farming, and that's a good start. I mean, the only downside to hemp farming I could see is cross-contamination of good strains, but what are you going to do? I mean, it's definitely, if we had hemp in this country, it would be an agricultural revolution, that's for sure. It's still illegal. For those of you that are ignorant out there, we're all ignorant, but I mean, if you don't know, hemp, you can't get high off hemp. You can smoke a pound of hemp, which is the same thing as just basically like the male version without the THC in it. It's just low-grade pot. That's what hemp is. Super crappy low-grade pot. It can be used for oil, paper, rope, all sorts of things. It has. Our country was founded on it. Back in World War II, they had to actually grow it. Hemp for victory. That's right. Well, this article from Natural News brings us more. This is from Jonathan Benson, staff writer. Thank you, Jonathan. And here we go. Here's Jonathan reports. There is a prevailing misunderstanding in America today about the difference between marijuana and hemp, both of which are prohibited under federal law from being grown on U.S. soil. Somehow, hemp, an industrial crop with virtually no hallucinogenic properties, got lumped in with marijuana in the federal government's overzealous prohibition mandates back in the 1950s. A grave error that Senator Ron Wyden of Oregon is hoping to change with the new Farm Bill amendment he recently proposed. Co-sponsored by Senator Rand Paul. Ooh, boo. Yeah, he just endorsed Romney not too long ago, and boy, that kind of, it pissed me and a lot of people off. We're like, so what's up with your son, Ron? And then Rand is named after Ayn Rand, and just, okay, don't get me started. Let me just continue with the story. That's the thing. I digress. Here we go. Co-sponsored by Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky, Amendment 2220 to the Federal Farm Bill, which is known as S-3240, would effectively fix the broken laws that prohibit the cultivation of hemp in the U.S., but that simultaneously will allow it to be brought and sold here. This failed policy has not only needlessly restricted American farmers from taking advantage of the rapidly growing demand for hemp by being able to grow it themselves, but it has also driven the entire booming hemp industry into countries like Canada, from which it has to be imported. Quote from Senator Wyden himself, "This is, in my view, a textbook example of regulation that flunks the common sense test," said Senator Wyden on the House floor concerning the mindless prohibition of growing industrial hemp in the U.S. "The only thing standing in the way of taking advantage of this very profitable crop is its lingering misunderstanding about its use, and the amendment that I have filed on this issue will end a ridiculous regulation once and for all." Thank you, Senator Wyden. I mean, that's good politicking there. It's not an actual word, folks, but good politicking there, boy. Get in there. Get that stuff legalized. Get it all legalized. My God, let God set it out. America has a rich hemp history. Few people today are aware of America's rich hemp history, which dates back to the early 1700s when colonists were actually required to grow hemp. Could you imagine that? Listen, boy, I noticed you ain't growing any weed on your farm. You got to grow weed from now on. Yes, sir. Whatever you say, sir. That's right. If you don't, we'll come by and arrest you. Shh, I wish, wouldn't it be? Anyhow, since it requires no pesticides or herbicides and has thousands of industrial uses, ranging from textiles and cellophane to vehicle bodies and paper, hemp has long been an important cash crop. It still is. The good stuff's still an important cash crop. Not to mention an amazing food source throughout America's history. Almost every single one of the nation's founding fathers, including George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and John Adams, smoked weed. Also grew hemp, and the Declaration of Independence was even drafted on hemp paper right after they smoked a big fatty. Hemp is actually a far more sustainable source of paper than trees are, yielding as much as 4 times more paper per acre. A 1930 Popular Mechanics article titled "New Billion-Dollar Crop Dubbed Hemp the Standard Fiber of the World because it's great tensile strength and durability, and it gets you high." No, this stuff doesn't get you high, okay? This is not the stuff that gets you high. So there's no reason on this issue to be worried about people growing hemp. You know, the only thing that would bother people is kind of like they'd have to go around testing to see if that hemp will get you high. You know, that would be like, how would you tell, you know? I mean, how would you? I, of course, wouldn't be able to tell at a glance. You know, I wouldn't know. But, you know, it would be harder for the police to determine that, you know. But you know what? Why don't you get the stick out of your butt and just let us smoke pot? I mean, what the hell? I mean, would it kill you? We can drink. You know how many alcohol-related car accidents and deaths there are a year? You know the last time somebody got killed by pot? A bale of weed fell on them. No, that's just an old joke. I don't think anybody's ever died directly because of some dope in all of history. Yeah, heroin, meth, you get cocaine, that stuff will kill you. I mean, you can overdose, but marijuana is non-toxic. It cannot kill you. Anyhow, let me just continue with this article. A 1938 Popular Mechanics article titled New $1 Billion Crop dubbed hemp the standard fiber of the world because its great tensile strength and durability. At that time, hemp was estimated to have the potential to earn American farmers millions of dollars a year in revenue, so just think what it could earn American farmers today. Another amazing wonder of hemp is that it works better than toxic plastics at containing, protecting, insulating, and storing. Yeah, and it has no BPA too. Oh yeah, the article talks about that. If hemp once again attained mainstream status, food manufacturers could begin using it rather than plastics to package and distribute food. For instance, which would virtually eliminate human exposure to bisphenol A and other plastic poisons. If you don't know about BPA, it's on our little receipts, it's in our printing ink, it's on our plastics. I forgot, I think it's number 7. You got to check the plastic. I should know that off the top of my head, but you got to be aware of BPA. It's another thing that hurts you, kills you, makes you sick, and all that stuff's all over. Back to the article. The U.S. Congress has a real opportunity before it to kickstart the economy. Like the hell that's going to ever happen. They got stimulus coming up. That's what they're going to do with the economy. More stimulus. Have you noticed how the stimulus hasn't helped over the last 4 freaking years? You know where it goes to? Subverting city councils and buying up properties without our permission and taking away municipalities. There's no freaking stimulus. You guys are idiots if you believe that the government's doing anything to help our economy. Freaking idiots. You got to understand, nothing's being done except the decimation of the American middle class. What? Mr. Wordsworth, you're accusing the government of destroying the middle class on purpose? Well, what else could I say? I mean, aside from the asinine policies being handed down, none of them help the middle class. And what's the middle class doing? Some of them care. Some of them care. Some of them still have homes and a TV, and so they don't care. But when you don't have your home and your TV, you're going to care. The good folks over at Hemp History Week have created a portal through which you can call or email your senators and urge support for Senator Wyden's amendment to 2220, that bill. By signing, you also receive discount coupons from some leading hemp brands, including Dr. Bronner's. Yeah, I use that product. Manitoba Harvest, Food Should Taste Good, and Nutiva and Tempt. Sources for this article include thehill.com and naturalnews.com/hemphistory.html. Oh, go hemp. We hope we it would be nice to see it. Wouldn't it just kind of, I don't know. I mean, if I had to take a choice between pot and alcohol being illegal, like if that was the case, I'd be like, make alcohol illegal. Make it so you got to go down the street to buy a 6-pack off a guy standing on the corner who might stab you in the back or rip you off. You know what that, I mean, could you imagine if you had to go through that? Well, look, we learned prohibition doesn't work. It just doesn't work. It didn't work in the 20s and 30s, and it isn't working now. But, you know, shame on the old people that know this. I mean, you guys lived through that era. And you still, you know why you don't like marijuana? Because back in the 50s, they made a little ad going, your white daughter's going to smoke marijuana and have sex with Negroes. And then they're going to engage in satanic rituals, dance around campfires half naked. You know what, actually, aside from the satanic part, that sounds kind of fun. Get high and dance around half naked around with good young, yeah. I don't know, but that's just me, you know. When we get back, I'm going to depress things a little bit. You have to. I don't know, I'm being a little jovial today, and oh, God, it's laugh or cry, isn't it? I'd rather laugh, but, you know, I spend enough time crying. I can't take this stuff too seriously. It is too serious. We're getting ready to bust out with, when I say we, I shouldn't say that. Not even the United States government, because it isn't our government anymore. Effectively, it's got a couple of congressmen and senators that still care, but man, this isn't our government. We're not being represented. No taxation without representation. Yeah, we ain't going to solve the problems today. When I get back, I'm going to read this article about Greece. And just as I read it, think about, like, what if that happened here? Because it will. I even hate to say that. It will. It's coming. There's just no way to avoid it. We're headed into a horrible economic depression, bunch of wars, probably some food famines, biological warfare release, which most likely from elements within our own government trying to establish a dictatorship and shove us off into FEMA camps. If you don't know what FEMA camps are, that's FEMA camps. Look them up online. The FCC new regulations are coming out today. And if they pass, if they stick, this is going to be, we're trying to get our FCC license here down at River West Radio, and it's getting harder and harder to do that. But under the new FCC laws, they'll be able to, I'm not sure exactly how it works, but they'll basically have this little box that can scramble your broadcast. So in the future, if I talk about FEMA camps, or the government running drugs, or Operation Fast and Furious, or the fact that we're lying about Syria, that they're not killing, they're massacring their people, and there's no, most of you don't even know what democracy is, honestly. I mean, honestly, you don't know what democracy is. Go read the definition. We're not... We're not spreading it, whether you know what it is or ain't. We're not spreading it throughout the Middle East. They're not going to embrace it. So just stop pretending like you support the troops, waving the flag. You don't support jack. You don't support anything but your butt getting bigger every day as you shove the burgers down your throats. Makes me sick. You know, by the way, the number to call in is 414-935-2951. I enjoy ripping on the ignorant, stupid masses of America. And I wish they'd call in and rip on me, because we could have a good debate. The point is, I don't know, I'm like, what is the point? I'm starting to turn into a nihilist. We are so bored in this country. But you know why I feel that way? It's just because I'm in my own doldrum. I mean, just kind of like, I got to admit, I mean, as hard as life is, it's still pretty cushy, still pretty good. I don't want it to go away, but the thing is, the cushiness is a lure to suck us into mankind. Humanity does not do well in a life of ease, especially when it's a well-funded, delusional existence. I mean, we're just enabling idiocy with our tax dollars until we're broke, and then it won't matter. All right, I'll be right back. You just stay there. Don't go away. A couple of commercials that aren't really commercials. We got these new commercials that are anti-commercials. Got to make them. I love making them. Here's one about Monsanto. I'm going to play this next. You just got to love it. All right, we'll be right back.
You're listening to RiverWestRadio.com.
The kitchen is the heart of the home, but at Monsanto, we're a megalithic agricultural group attempting to destroy farmers all across your country. We bring you horrible foods that attack your stomach lining, DNA, give you kidney and liver failure. Monsanto, bringing Franken foods to your family at home. Don't you just hate us? Say no to GMO. Say no to GMO, that's right. Greece's ailing economy grinds to a halt. This article from the Financial Times out of Europe by Joshua Chaffin in Athens. Thank you, Joshua. Last week, Medical Services Limited, a small Athens supplier of medical equipment that can no longer afford to pay its employees, received what should have been a blessing, an order from one of the city's hospitals for a heart monitoring machine. But after thinking it over, Yannis Stamos, the company's co-founder, turned the customer away. Filling the order would have meant reaching into Medical Services' own pockets to cover the €35,000 cost of such a machine, since Greek banks have stopped lending and the company's German suppliers now demand prepayment in cash. Even if it could foot the bill, Medical Service would then have to hand over thousands of euros in sales tax to the Greek government within a month, long before any hospital is likely to pay. This quote from Mr. Stamos: "It's a terrible situation. Everything is frozen, the economy is dead, and no one is paying anyone." Medical service is but a snapshot of what is happening to businesses across Greece as the economy's gears grind to a halt. After sputtering through 4 years of recession, most commercial activity has all but ceased over the past 6 weeks. As the country endured 2 nail-biting elections with its future in the Eurozone hanging in the balance. The political paralysis has both quickened the outflow of deposits from Greece's teetering banks and put on hold an EU-funded effort to recapitalize them. Business leaders say they can no longer obtain the most basic credit, even when they boast solid order books. Making matters worse, the government, which controls much of the economy, has stopped paying its bills. As of last month, it owed nearly 7 billion euros to the private sector, mostly the Germans, actually. Yeah, Hans, we bought up the assets of Greece pretty cheap this year. I got me a train yard and some warehouses by the dock. Yeah, I keep the Deutschmark down. I'm sorry. I digress. 174 billion EU bailout was supposed to help, but it has had negligible effects on the real economy, since most of the funds leave the country as soon as they arrive to repay foreign creditors. This quote, said Konstantin Mikolas, the president of the Athens Chamber of Commerce, "We have got to a point where we have come to a complete standstill," said Konstantin Mikolas, the president. "The first thing a coalition government has to do is recapitalize the Greek banking system." The Chamber's own study reveals that 68,000 Greek businesses closed over the past 17 months, and it expects a further 36,000 closed in the next 12 months. Wait, what is that? 68,000 Greek businesses closed over the last 17 months? 68,000 businesses. And sometimes when I read through these headlines, it's just these figures, just like they kick you in the where the sun don't shine. And you're just like, what? Could you imagine? Anyhow, I digress. It foresees the economy will shrink a further 7.8% this year, worse than the 6 to 6.5% decline forecast by most economists. You know, if I were to ask the Greek people, so what do you think? Was the 7.8% worse than the 6.5%? They'd be like, what the hell are you talking about? You're talking about a percentage point. Things suck here. Did you just listen? We just lost 68,000 freaking businesses over the last 17 months. You want to ask me what a 7.8% difference is from a 6.5%? Anyhow, let's continue. The liquidity problem of the banks, coupled with the state's difficulty in paying its obligations for the past year, has created ripple effects in the economy, and everyone is feeling the effects. I bet they are. Said Thymos Boulatis, I don't even know, Baulautas. I wish I spoke Greek, I don't. Apologize, dear Greek people. Thank you for olive oil and those really cool pillared buildings and those attics, the Greek Attica. Anyhow, the chief executive of Murfin Investment Group, a Greek holding company that owns hotels, an airline, private hospitals, and a restaurant chain. Some of those effects are obvious, with Greek pharmacists owed 370 million euros by government insurance schemes. For example, some medications have become scarce and patients now have to pay the full cost of prescription drugs. Others are less so. One Athens executive said his company had begun shopping for a new data center outside Greece, amid fears that the country will suffer rolling blackouts this summer because of debts owed to the main utility. The executive declined to be identified because the company does not want foreign customers or potential investors to know that it is based in Greece. What did this guy say? He said, "It's quite sad that we're doing that, but it's reality." What is he doing? He's moving his shopping center outside Greece? I don't know. Why is this in this article? It's like, who gives a flying? The cash crunch also appears to be forcing Greek companies to drop European suppliers and turn to Chinese competitors because they're willing to offer credit. Yeah, because they got slave labor to produce their stuff. No wonder they're offering credit. If the one thing they got is like people to work for the cheap, you know, I mean, that's when you start fronting your crap, man. It's like when you got too much stuff, you're like, hey, start taking our stuff. That's what credit is. It's money on the front. Demetrios Papanikolaou from Greece. I don't know, some of these names. Papanikolaou. That's the best I can do. I'm sorry, folks. Vice President of Neon Energy, which installs solar panels, said this factor, not cost, was the main reason he increasingly bought materials from China instead of Germany. At Medical Service, Mr. Stamos has done likewise, switching to Chinese ultrasound machines. In many ways, Mr. Stamos embodies the enormous progress Greece has made in just a few generations, as well as the calamity it now faces. His father delivered goods by donkey on the island of Andros. What the hell is that doing in this article? After settling in Athens, the son launched his company with a partner in a bank loan in 1991. His daughter studies economics at Athens University. Oh, I'm happy for you, guy. I just am. Late payments by Greece's public hospitals have been a chronic challenge requiring a sympathetic banker. 2 years ago, the government paid 1 million euros in arrears to medical service in the form of bonds. That seems like a reasonable deal. No, it doesn't. It seems lawful. Until the country's latest EU bailout led to a 50% haircut for those securities. Haircut is, they got that in quotation marks. That means, took your money, chump. Ha! Well, now what you going to do about it? Yeah, I thought so. That's what a haircut is. That's when the government does that to you. They're like the pimp out on the street corner. Like, anyhow, I'll curb check you. Anyhow, in March, Mr. Stam will stop paying regular salary. Oh, wrong voice. Back to the article. In March, Mr. Stamos stopped paying regular salaries to his employees and reduced their hours. Like other Greek executives, he's hoping that a new government will emerge this week and then begin settling its bills. I am an optimist, he said. You bet you are, sir. You bet you are. Right now, if you... Oh, boy. I am sorry, man. Those Greeks, those guys, they really are. They got shafted, and many of us don't even know where Greece is. No, honestly, just admit it. A lot of you, if I put a gun to your head and gave you a world map and said, find me Greece or I swear I'll kill you, you couldn't do it, could you? It's because your school systems suck. That's really what it is. We dropped geography a long time ago. All over America, government control freaks are forcing preppers back onto the grid. This article from Michael Snyder at the American Dream. We'll get to that right when we get back from this message from, who's this message from? The reason why you're so tired, people. All right, I'll be right back.
Are you tired of commercials always telling you that you're tired when you know you're tired because you wake up early and go to bed late and every moment in between is spent trying to figure out how you're going to make the next dollar? Well, you're not alone. Millions of Americans are walking around in a sleep-deprived, zombie-like state amplified by psych meds and pharmaceuticals found in the drinking water. So just be glad you're not one of them, unless you are, in which case I'm sorry you had to hear this. But wait, there's more. If we keep at this current pace, we will surely lose our democratic republic and soon be standing in food lines for the poisonous rations the new totalitarian government will hand out. Don't delay. Get involved. Get informed. You're listening to RiverWestRadio.com.
All over America, government control freaks are forcing preppers back onto the grid. This article from Michael Snyder, The American Dream. In recent years, there have been huge numbers of Americans that have sought to go off the grid and live a more independent lifestyle. It's been estimated that there are now approximately 3 million preppers in the United States, and many of them just want to be left alone so that they can take care of themselves and their families on their own land. But that's not the way America works anymore. In many areas of the country, government control freaks have essentially declared war on preppers and are attempting to force them back on the grid. In some states, nuisance abatement teams are conducting armed raids on off-the-grid properties. Property owners are being cited for code violations or being told that they are bothering the neighbors. I'm sure if you're a prepper out in the middle of Jack knows where, you don't have neighbors. These guys truly must be control freaks. And they just, you got to wonder. I mean, if somebody wants to go live in a freaking woods and drink out of a well, what do you care? What do you freaking care? In some cases, trees and gardens are being forcibly removed. In other cases, entire structures are being relocated or torn down. And in the most extreme cases, property owners are actually being forced off their properties completely by these control freaks. You see, the truth is that in America, you don't really own your property. You're essentially renting it, and you can only do with it what the government allows you to do. That's freedom, buddy. And the government does not like people disconnecting from the grid and living an independent lifestyle. So these battles over property rights are probably going to get even more intense in the years ahead. These days, many Americans are choosing to grow survival gardens as a way to help feed their families and become more independent of the system. But in some areas of the country, these survival gardens are being forcibly ripped out by government control freaks. Just check out what happened to one unemployed woman in Tulsa, Oklahoma. A Tulsa woman is suing the city's code enforcement officers after she said they cut down her garden with no cause. Denise Morrison said she has more than 100 plant varieties in her front and backyards, and all of them are edible and have a purpose. She knows which ones will treat arthritis, which ones will make your food spicy, which ones will keep mosquitoes away and treat bug bites. But she said none of that mattered to city inspectors. Last August, Morrison's front and backyards were filled with flowers in bloom, lemon, stevia, garlic, chives, grapes, strawberries, apple mint, spearmint, peppermint, an apple mint tree, walnut tree, pecan trees, and much more. Oh my God, you got to cut that down immediately. Peppermint, apple mint, grapes, garlic, chives. You could open up a grocery store, couldn't you? The government agents left her with nothing. They ripped her garden to shreds. She was relying on that garden for her food and her medicine because she's unemployed. That's sick as hell. The woman's unemployed. She's trying to survive. She has a garden in her front and backyard, and we're going to spend federal tax and state taxes to have federal agents go cut down the garden? What next? Raiding raw milk? Oh, yeah, that's right. We've done that already. That's right. They raid raw milk now. I've reported on that a couple times. I'll go over it again. The government agents left her with nothing. That's right. Jack, nada, zip. They ripped her garden to shreds. She was relying on that garden for her food and her medicine. Because she is unemployed, she doesn't have any money to go to the store and buy all those things. Now she is absolutely destitute. I'm sorry to hear that. I really, really am, actually. This is sick. It is. Her quote, Miss Morrison said, I came back 3 days later, sat in my driveway, cried, and left. You know what? Bless you, woman, because honestly, it's sad that you even had to go through that, but you're not the only one. And justice is being shoved down, hammered down on so many people these days. And it's just a matter of time before, like, it comes to our door. It came to my door. It's just the way it is, but it'll come. Oh, but at least the government agents can report that everything now is up to code. What's up to code? You destroyed peppermint and spearmint. Terrible, terrible, terrible. When I get back, the news is getting even more serious. We've got Syria, Iran, Russia, and China reportedly planning a war game. What does that mean? It's basically saying that, look, if America keeps going the way it's going, destabilizing the Middle East, we're attacking the Middle East right now, folks. If you don't know that, we are destabilizing the government one by one. Afghanistan, Iraq, Egypt, Libya, now we're on Syria, and we're headed for Yemen as well. Well, the Russians and the Chinese, they can only think, what are you guys up to? When I get back, I'm going to read this article. What are we up to? I mean, seriously, that's what I want to know. I have no idea sometimes, and I read the news constantly. So all I can do is report it, give my opinion. The rest you guys got to do. We'll be right back.
You're listening to RiverWestRadio.com. Every day, people wake up all over the world and hear commercials like this one, with soft music and a soothing announcer's voice telling you how great some big corporation's new technology will help you and your family. But it is important to remember, these companies could give a flying f*** about you or your family. That's why Breaking Down the News has made this commercial to counter their commercials. Don't be fooled by them. The battle is to gain control of your mind through media propaganda. Just say no to evil corporations and their slick computer graphics designed to brainwash viewers. Vote no with your dollars, and we will regain the health of our nation, one consumer at a time.
Syria, Iran, Russia, and China reportedly plan war games. And it's not just for fun anymore. This article from Kurt Nemo, Infowars.com on June 19th. Media outlets in Iran are reporting that Iran plans to participate in a war game with Russia, China, and Syria in the near future, and preparations will be carried out in the next few days. Syria's Arabic language Sham Life website added that the preparations are progressing at an, quote, accelerated pace and will, end quote, and will likely occur within a month. Sham Life reported that 90,000 troops from the 4 countries will participate in the exercise along with 400 aircraft, 1,000 tanks, and a large number of rockets. Syria will test its air and coastal defenses during the exercise. Well, you know what? Good for you guys. I mean, that's the thing is, like, just America has become the new evil empire. I mean, do I even need to say that? I mean, isn't that just basically understood? You always wondered, what did the people of Nazi Germany think? Did they think? No, they just followed orders. Yeah, that's all we're doing right now. I mean, these guys got every right to bust out with this thing. That's what we always do. We always do like impressive joint operations within your country's borders nearby, just to let you know that we're ready to come in and bomb the hell out of you whenever we want. Yay! That ain't funny anymore, is it? Well, I guess Russia, China, and Syria, they have their right to have their fancy little war games too. Yeah. Sick. Iran's Fars news agency also quoted informed sources as stating the exercise will include ground troops and joint air and naval forces. You know what? They should all just get together and smoke joints. That would be easier. But it said Russian nuclear submarines are prepared to sail to Syria and participate in the joint exercise. Sham Life said that China had gained permission to move 12 ships loaded with military equipment through the Suez Canal, but the captain was too high to get. Oh, no. The ships will reach the Syrian ports of Tartus and Latakia. There you go. Within 2 weeks, the website said. Oh, geez. I got to move on. I mean, the point is, they're doing joint exercises in Syria. We're totally wrong about this one. I shouldn't even say we, because we don't run this country anymore. We have no idea really who does. I mean, I have a vague idea, but I mean, who's actually making the policies? I don't know. It ain't you. It ain't me. You guys are more worried about who's going to vote for Obama or who's going to vote for Romney. I went Romney. I went Obama. I went Romney. I went Obama. You know what? You're both fucking... Oops, sorry. I'm sorry. You know, I almost said the one word you can't say on air. You know that? You just... We're really pushing it sometimes here, aren't we? Pushing it to the hilt all the times. All right. Society General says that gold could surge over 500%. This article from the Business Insider. Society General is enthusiastic on gold, so much that in their latest cross-asset strategy report, they call buy gold ahead of QE3 their number one strategy, saying it's the perfect asset to benefit from additional loose monetary policy. In the report, SocGen discusses the historical relationship between the price of gold and the U.S. monetary base. The SocGen team writes that if gold catches up with the increase in the monetary base since 1920, as it did in the early 80s, if its price would rise to $8,500 an ounce, ouch. Man, go out there and buy gold right now. You know that cash for gold? You guys are idiots. Don't turn in your gold for cash. Keep your gold. It's like going to be worth 10, 20, 30, 100 times the cash it is now. I mean, that's just a healthy estimate, and apparently Society General agrees. Moving on, we got the economic collapse in Greece. I know we covered this earlier, but the collapse in Greece is finally sinking into the consciousness of its citizens. Greek citizens may have narrowly avoided an economic catastrophe following a vote this week to remain within the euro. The fact that they didn't vote on... They're not going to get out of the euro until Germany says they're getting out of the euro. You have a problem with that? I didn't think so. Heil Hitler, baby. The fact that their country is slipping further towards the financial abyss is becoming more ingrained in their psyche. On Sunday, voters narrowly elected a center-right New Democratic Party. A center-right New Democratic Party. That's kind of like a center-left New Republican Party. I mean, what's the difference? You guys have become so centralized, it doesn't even matter. You're centrist, which would be cool by me if you actually stuck to issues, but you still find no issues in the center. You managed to take the center, the zone between the left and the right, filled with reason and logic and rationale, and just minimalize it to the point of nothingness. It's amazing how we do that in this country. Anyhow, besieged by debt and teetering on the brink of insolvency is literally in chaos. Yes, Greece is literally in chaos. For months now, Greece has only managed to exist, not thrive, as successive bailouts of its government, the European Central Bank, have kept Athens from tumbling headlong over an economic cliff. Frankly, its leaders should have seen coming years ago. And mostly the banking lending is going on by Germany, if I haven't made that clear. You know what? That's just like here. We got stimulus after stimulus, but I don't know any small businesses really anymore. A few that are struggling. I remember in the 80s, the 90s, small businesses were thriving, and there's still some that are holding on, but by and large, no. It's pretty sad. It's pretty sad. That's why we're laughing at everything. Oh, it's all great. It's all falling apart. Yeah. Well, even now the bailouts, once gratefully considered a lifeline, are now being panned by vast numbers of Greek leaders and citizens who abhor the fact that the money is flowing with so many strings attached. That's just the way it is, guys. It's just the way it is. That's the way. There's a song like that, I know. Let's see. Senator Portman confronted on NDAA special interest money. But I didn't, I'm just hearing about this for the first time. So this just in, Robert J. Portman, we plan to make an example of you, writes an anonymous operative. The hacktivist also released personal data, including the senator's home address, phone number, and social networking accounts in an attempt to further an infiltration from the internet to show the opposition to the bill that colossally impacts the constitutional rights of Americans. According to the information posted by the operative, the nearly $300,000 in special interest monies lobbied at Portman could have helped him purchase around $1.7 million in real estate in Ohio. Wow. The next lawmaker to receive anywhere near as much as Senator Portman is Senator Majority Leader Harry Reid. Oh, my God. A Democrat. Yeah, you guys know Harry Reid from Nevada. A Democrat from Nevada and third-ranked official in Congress who pulled in more than $100,000 less than his Ohio counterpart he only got $172,635. I mean, what do these guys spend this on? This just in, prescription painkillers. Maybe I need some. No, I hate those things. I really do. You get those painkillers when you get injuries, back injuries and whatnot. They don't cure. They just toss those things off you. I'm telling you, those things are addictive if you don't know that. Ask Brett Favre. Ask Brett Favre if painkillers are addictive. And they dope you up in a most unpleasant way. It's not like, it's not desirable. It really isn't. But people get hooked on them. Well, anyhow, this article is from Emily Allen, the Daily Mail.uk. Prescription painkillers have topped car accidents as the leading cause of accidental death in the U.S., according to a new report. Research by the National Center for Health Statistics show that drug poisoning is now more common, way to go, than being killed on the road. It follows recent celebrity deaths from painkillers, including Michael Jackson, Heath Ledger, and Anna Nicole Smith. Oh, boy. How about this one? House bill introduced to ban EPA spy flights. I got to break that down for you. The House bill, there's a Senate, a Congress, a House. They make legislation, they propose it, and then they vote on it. It's called Americans, the way of life, the government. Anyhow, they've introduced a ban to the Environmental Protection Agency spy flights. Thank God. Thank God. The article goes something like this. House Republicans have introduced legislation that would prevent the EPA from conducting area drone surveillance of the American farms under the guise of enforcing the Clean Water Act. Republican Shelley Moore Capito's bill would force the EPA to get written consent, give public notice, and provide evidence that the Clean Water Act is being violated, according to The Hill. Capito's legislation would block any kind of aerial surveillance, including both drones and manned aircraft. Moreover, it would prohibit the use of satellite images, even images that are available to the public. She said complaints about EPA surveillance flights prompted her to introduce the legislation. The EPA confirmed in a letter sent to Capito in March that aerial overflights are only one of many tools that are used as part of the compliance assurance process to identify discharging sources that may impact water quality. The bill was referred to the House Judiciary Committee and the House Transportation and Infrastructure Committee. Committee. As like committee. Committee. Infowars.com reported on the EPA surveillance program after Nebraska's congressional delegation sent a joint letter to EPA Administration Lisa Jackson asking them to smoke a joint. Sorry, I just all over that today, aren't I? The story was subsequently picked up by a number of other publications, including the Daily Caller, the New American, and Fox News. What an evil organization that is. According to Billings Gazette, however, the story is bogus. I like that. It's in this article. The story is bogus. Indeed. They quote, conservative talk radio host Alex Jones published the bogus drone story on his website, Infowars.com, complete with a photograph of a military drone flying through blue skies. Actually, they put that on their website, but it's not true. They really are flying drones across America. You should be freaking out right now because there's armed, weaponized flight craft that are controlled by remote control. Some of it automatically determines these things, like the ones we use in Pakistan. They're going to start flying that over America. Why? When the hell did we need that? What are we so afraid of? Are we afraid of the American people ourselves? I mean, the security, you guys, the government, the police, they're not going to save you. No, they're not there to protect you anymore. None of it. You're not getting any protection. You're not getting any help. And no, those of you that think that you're in on the system and the status quo supports you, you're going to get betrayed the worst. You're going to lose your pensions. You're going to lose your properties, your dollar value. Interest rates are going to go up. Gasoline and oil prices are going to skyrocket. Over the next year, there's no way in hell we're going to avoid this. What, you didn't know about any of this stuff? That's why you should be listening to Breaking Down the News right here. That's right. I'm breaking it down for you. 3 days a week. Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 3:30 to 5. On Friday, I'm on for 2.5 freaking hours telling you about all this stuff. I scour through the news looking for the most juicy tidbits, and sometimes there's so much news that I'd like to warn you about that I don't even know where to begin. I mean, just article after article just is fascinating as heck. Here, Miami-Dade Commission approves bath salt ban. CBSLocal.com. Bath salts have made headlines ever since it was rumored Rudy Eugene may have been under their influence when he chewed off half of Ronald Popo's face. I hate to even read this stuff. Remember the guy on the freeway that was eating the other guy's face? I mean, everybody can agree. We didn't used to hear about this. Well, there's been a lot of rumors going on and still what caused this? As far as I've heard, it's not bath salts. The latest thing I've heard is it's street drugs. Crystal meth and ecstasy was the last unconfirmed rumor that I heard. Sounds good to me. I mean, I wouldn't even know what would happen if you combine crystal meth and ecstasy. Holy cats, that would be a powerful combination. And it ain't going to feel good, folks. Might make a person eat another person's face. I don't really know what causes that, but my guess is, look, just because you smoke crack doesn't mean you can go run around naked, drop acid you might, smoke DMT maybe, but no, I mean, you're not going to do that. And just kind of I think this guy wanted to eat this guy's face. That's my only guess. It was a secret, deep, long urge that he carried with him, and who knows what drives people to that point. Well, anyhow, these bath salts can be easily purchased at convenience stores along with synthetic marijuana, which has also been targeted by commissioners to be banned. Yeah, synthetic pot. It's actually just the form. It's not the THC. It's the other, I forget what they call those things. The other cannabinoids that aren't THC. I mean, this is the thing. Just legalize pot, man. Just let people smoke it. What are you going to do? I mean, it's non-toxic. Nobody will eat your face off if they smoke weed. They might raid your refrigerator and eat up that last piece of apple pie or that pizza you got sitting in there. That's true. I got to admit that. It's kind of like when it comes to getting your refrigerator raided, don't have them potheads sitting over, whatever. They will eat you out of house and home, especially a lot of people broke these days. They're hungry, They're hungry and then they smoke. Oh yeah, I mean, this is great, but they won't eat your face off. Ain't that great? After all these years of fighting pot, now we got real drug concerns, some serious crap. That's why New York, I was covering the article earlier if you didn't catch it, New York is now legal. Well, they haven't legalized it, but basically if you're caught with under 22 grams, it's a fine. It's kind of like that here in Milwaukee too, but it's supposed to be 25 grams, but the cops are like, no, it's 22. Again, follow the law. It's either 22 or 20 fucking 5. laws aren't to be interpreted by you. Period. It's not up to your freaking discretion. We make the laws, our senators and councilmen sign them, and then you freaking enforce them. That's all you're hired to do. That's it. You're not hired to harass us. We're not some peasant that you just like shove on. We're not. This isn't a police state. Keep it up. Keep it up. Them guns and badges don't protect you from millions of Americans who are getting pissed off. Pissed. All right. We're back. Miami-Dade Commission approves bath salt ban. Well, we got maybe more room for one article here. Usually we keep it pretty light here on breaking down the news, but what are you going to do? I'm telling you, if you read this news, it gets to you. It really gets to you. It should get to you, but, I'd like to say, what are you going to do? Here's what you're going to do. You're going to get informed. You're going to start taking interest. You're going to stop thinking that it's uncool to pay attention to politics and issues that... You want to know why you don't have a job? Actually, you don't even care why you have a job anymore because you're collecting unemployment for the last 40 freaking weeks, aren't you? You don't care if you get a job or not. Guess what? When that employment runs out, then what? Maybe then you'll care. By that time, it will be too late. You will be too broke to even get cardboard and a magic marker and make a protest sign. And let me tell you something about when you're broke, and I know this from experience, people won't spit on you to put you out of fire. They won't give you a dime just as soon as look at you. When you're broke, that's it. You're down there. You don't have a voice anymore. You don't matter anymore. I mean, I'm not saying that that's the case. Poor people shouldn't matter. I'm saying that I know when we're broke and we don't have money, I don't care how well you dress, how well you speak. They're going to be like, do you have money? Like, well, no. Get out of here. You going to buy something or not? It's the way it is. And it's like pretty soon you're on the street. I'm looking right now. They got homeless people sitting outside of fuel, which I don't know if that's too good of a thing. But, I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, you got homeless people all the time here in River West showing up. It's summertime, so you're more likely to see them here. But, that's not the point. The point is there's homeless people, and there's a reason why they're homeless, and there's various reasons. And, well, what are you going to do? So anyhow, Droopy Jowls, the Jowls of Justice is coming up here. I got to get off the air. I'm running too late. But look, thanks for everything. Sorry for getting excited. I don't know what I'll lose my mind more later. Peace out, everyone. Talk to you Friday at 3:30. I'm Michael Wordsworth with Wordsworth Listening To.